So, what happens when life forces you to completely redefine who you are?
I think what happens is that you have to make a decision. Either you choose to stay where you are or you choose to take action. But whatever you're not choosing is still a choice. So it depends on you really, but sometimes life will require you to expand, even if it's difficult or even if it hurts. But choosing to stay stuck somewhere where you don't belong is sometimes more painful than moving forward or doing something new.
So, for anyone meeting you for the first time today, who is Jaidy?
Okay, so hi, I'm Jaidy. Jaidy is a Colombian woman who has lived many lives. I feel like I've lived at least three.
Love it.
So I'm a health coach, a podcaster. I do have a 9 to 5, but I don't want to define myself by that. So yeah, I define myself as someone who is very empathetic, kind, bubbly, and someone who truly wants to live a life with purpose, and someone who wants to experience life through the lens of joy and not be forced to, like live in this world on autopilot. Yeah.
And how is living life not on autopilot looks for you?
For me, it looks like really truly connecting with yourself and figuring out what it is that lights you up inside and finding that inner joy, that thing that gives you purpose to wake up every morning. Because at one point in life, I didn't have that and I always wanted that. So now that I've come to a point where like I feel like I really have learned to connect with myself and truly got to kind of uncover different parts of myself and like shed different layers. To me, it's like living authentically is the most important thing. Yeah.
And what is living authentically looks like, in your opinion?
It looks like just doing what you love, doing no matter what anyone else is doing, no matter what society told you was right or wrong. It's, like I said, what lights you up inside, what brings you joy. For so long, I used to compare myself with others' lives and like the things they had, the jobs that they had, thinking like their life is better than mine, or like, oh, I won't be happy until I have this and that. And of course, I'm not exactly 100% where I want to be in life, but I think I'm so much more closer now than I ever was because I truly have figured out what I want out of life, and I have a clearer direction as to where I want to go. Yeah.
And what steps have you taken to figure out what you want from life?
Well, lots of inner work, I would say. Lots of sitting with my feelings, lots of crying, lots of like open conversations with myself, and lots of vulnerability. First of all, it's like I said, getting to truly connect with myself, and a big part of that is also like kind of opening up like to my own like spirituality, getting closer to not necessarily, well, like, yes, God, but not in a religious way, in a spiritual way. Like I believe in God, but not, I grew up Catholic, but I don't practice religion. But I connect with God through the universe. Like I do feel like there's something bigger out there that connects us all as humans, and kind of connecting with that made me realize like I was put on this earth for a reason. I have a purpose here. We all have a purpose here. And when you discover that, it's a beautiful thing because it makes life worth living. So that's one of the main steps I've taken, I guess, is connecting with my spirituality, through meditation, through feeling all the feelings, through journaling. All of these things help me figure out what it is that I want to be able to live more authentically. That's, I guess, the first step.
Amazing. And it takes a lot of work, like you said, but also understanding who you really are to connect with yourself, you know, because sometimes we have some sort of kind of we can think about the parts of us that we like or dislike, you know, and I feel like when we fully accept who we are, this is the moment when things are changing, because you understand that you're not perfect. You understand that none of us are perfect.
Yeah.
And because you understand you're not perfect, you can be less harsh on everyone else, because you also understand they're not perfect. So when someone upsets you outside, you know, and I don't know, someone is horning with the car, and you're like, okay, I understand this person is not perfect. Maybe they're not aware of what they're doing, but you don't take things personal, because you understand, if I'm not perfect, how can everyone else be perfect, you know? And coming to that realization, I feel like it helps you to be a bit more gentle with yourself.
100%.
And to be more gentle with others. So like you said, I also think starting your inner work to begin with you, it will help you to connect with others as well, and to connect with the universe, or whatever there is that you believe that could be God, or you know.
Yeah, I say God, but also the universe, because like they're both like go hand in hand. But I think also part of the authenticity piece and the inner work is finding, like, having self-awareness and realizing, like, I'm not perfect, like you said, but also not being hard on yourself and giving yourself self-love and self-compassion, and realizing, like, I may not be perfect, but I also have great things about me that make me me. And that is my superpower. Everyone has their own thing that makes them unique and incredible. And when you discover that, like, the possibilities are endless and your world truly opens up, because no one else can be you.
Yeah, that's right. So when you look at your life today, what season are you currently in?
I would say currently I'm in a mix between growth and expansion. For a long time, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but as the days go by and, like, as the years go by, like, it just feels more and more clear. Currently, so as I mentioned earlier, I am a health coach, but I do this technically on the side. I do have a 9 to 5. But now I'm starting to create more of those opportunities for myself. So through my 9 to 5, I started doing like corporate wellness workshops, which has been great, because now I'm finding a way to implement the things that I love in my 9 to 5. And it's also bringing new opportunities into my life, because now I'm getting connections with corporate clients. And it's also, like, created this fire within me and this passion that I never thought that I had. Like, growing up, I never thought that I would want to have, like, my own business, or I wasn't very entrepreneurial. I just always thought, like, okay, I want to have a job and that's it, but never really knew what I wanted to do. But I always could picture myself, like, either working in, like, a cool office, or in like, a beautiful space, or, like, talking in front of people. But I always used to be, like, very shy as well. And now I'm doing all of the things that I never thought that I would do, like having a podcast, for example, like speaking in front of, like, corporate clients, public speaking in general. Like, that used to terrify the shit out of me. And now I'm like, I love it so much, and hosting events as well. Like, it's just crazy how much closer each day, like, with every new scary thing that I do, makes me realize that I need to do more scary things to get to where I want to be.
Yes. Yeah. And I wonder, because you said when I was little, I just saw myself being in an office, and I was never seeing myself as a business owner, or someone who is capable to speak in public.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Well, the funny thing is, it's not necessarily that I saw myself in an office. It's just what I thought I was meant to do. Like, when every corporate job that I've had, I never necessarily loved them, but I thought, like, oh, this is what they tell you need to do, right? But I think growing up, I didn't necessarily know what I wanted to do in life in general. All I knew is that I loved languages and that I also love fashion, but I didn't know like what I can do with that. When it came to fashion, I thought like, oh, the only option is to be a fashion designer. I don't know how to draw, so I can't do that. And when it comes to languages, I did so my degrees in modern languages. I thought like, okay, well, maybe I could be a translator or a teacher. Did that for a while. I loved being a teacher, but I was too young at the time to take it seriously. I only did it for like 6 months when I was like in my early 20s. And it was great, but I didn't take it seriously. But I remember the feeling of like being a teacher and like connecting with students. And I did actually really love that. But the pay wasn't great. So I'm like, I think as I got older, I was like, I just want to make more money. So then somehow life led me into like office roles, like working in HR. And like you get used to it, you get used to the comfort, and then somehow the years go by and it just somehow snowballs. But it wasn't something that like brought me joy. It was something I would tolerate. That it's like, okay, I'm doing this, like I have no other choice. And then you get so stuck in it that it's like you don't see any other option, and you feel like this is the only thing I can do. It's what I've been doing for the last few years. Like what else can I do?
Yes, and I feel like as a millennial, I feel like we've been sold the dream.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But it's quite interesting because someone told me something very interesting the other day, and they said, look, you know, when our parents were going to work Monday to Friday, they were making some decent income. You know, people in the early 90s, they were working hard, but they were, you know, able to afford much more to what we're able to afford now. So if I look at my grandma was working abroad, and she is made, you know, she was quite successful in terms of where she's put herself in a financial position. And now if I think about it, if I do what she's done, I would not be anywhere, you know. So we've been sold this dream of what other peoples have done in the past, but those days are over. And I feel like millennials are now coming either burnout because they've got into the rut of working 9 to 5, doing 12 hours a day. But also I feel like people became very unhappy because they realized this is not something I want to do. I mean, as you said, for example, you've got into different office roles just because that's what everyone else does. You know, it's almost like you are expected to live certain lifestyle, to be seen as successful. So at some point you start believing, well, I need to work 9 to 5 because if I don't, the society will not see me as successful, even though that's not something you want, you know. Or you start believing, for example, well, if I work 9 to 5, this is the only way I can be financially free to do the things that I'm doing now. So like you said, you start believing this is the only way forward, and then before you know, 20 years later, you're still in the same job doing the same thing, and you're wondering, so what happened to Gen Z?
Yeah, no,
Gen Z?
that would be my worst nightmare. When I meet people at work who have like been in the same company for like over 20 years, I'm like, what? I haven't been in a company for more than 2 years. I get itchy feet. Like I need to change constantly.
Yes.
I'm like, I don't know how they do it.
Also because you realize that that's not your calling in life, and you want to do something different. So before we talk about what you do now, take us back to what was life before everything changed?
Very different. I would say I was someone who was very lost in life. I didn't know what I wanted, but also different in the sense of like my personal life. It was extremely different. Like there's definitely a before and after for the Jaidy that I am today versus the Jaidy that I was. And we will get into this later, but like I think the turning point for me was moving to the UK and the loss of my parents and moving to the UK. Because there's actually even because I grew up in the US as well, so hence the American accent. So it's like, this is why I said like I have 3 lives. Like my life was the US, then my Colombia life, and now my UK life. But then also it's the loss of my parents and moving to the UK with my ex-partner, because I used to be married.
Okay.
Yeah. And now I'm in London, single, parentless, familyless here, but so much more fulfilled in so many other ways, which to a lot of people that might sound crazy because no, I don't have family here, and they're like, I'm here all alone. But I never felt more authentic and more myself than I do now. Yes, of course, I wish I had family nearby, and yes, of course, I wish my parents were still here. But that's just not the way my life was meant to go, and that's just
okay.
how it is. I've come to accept it. It took some time, obviously. It didn't happen overnight, and again, I've had to feel all the feelings. But yeah, I think all of those experiences made me see life in a completely different lens, and made me realize, like, okay, all of these choices, like before, I just felt like in some way I wasn't fully present. I was just kind of drifting through life, not knowing what I wanted, not fully immersing myself in experiences. And I guess if I could go back, I wish I had been more present, but I can't change that. The only thing I can do now is fully live the day-to-day now, fully enjoy the people that are in my life now, that are meaningful to me now, and keep doing that moving forward.
Amazing. So tell me, who was Heidi when she had one of the free lives, let's say the one in the US?
Well, that was a different Heidi because I was a child. Like, I didn't really have the choice. My parents were immigrants in the US. I moved there when I was 4, and I lived there until I was 14. So 10 years of my life, I always thought that I was going to stay in the US. Unfortunately, my parents were not able to get American citizenship, and this is why we decided to move back to Colombia. And yeah, it's interesting because growing up, I always thought, like, I pictured myself living in, like, New York, for example. I've always, like, loved big cities. Somehow life led me to London.
Yeah.
So close, not exactly the same, but I think I love London more than New York now. But the point is that, yeah, I pictured my life one way, but I don't know, through a turn of events, I wasn't meant to be in the US. I was meant to go back to Colombia, experience life in Colombia, and then I met my ex-partner who was English, and I somehow ended up in the UK. We're no longer together, but it was such a great learning lesson in my life. And I have a lot of love for him because obviously, like, it was a huge experience, like, and I think he was someone that I needed in my life while I was going through tough times. It was kind of like, I genuinely believe in my heart that I think my dad sent him to take care of me because he was no longer on earth to be here. Because he was a great person, honestly, like, great person. We just grew apart because life circumstances forced me internally to change. And then losing my mom made me realize, like, I'm not living a life that is aligned with what I want. We want different things. So what is the point of staying with someone just out of comfort, just because it's all right? I was with someone who's on paper, it was great, but not necessarily the person and the life for me. And yeah, you have to make decisions. Either you can stay, but then I wasn't being true to myself or being authentic. And that's not fair on either of us. It's not fair to him, not fair to me.
So you've openly shared that you've lost both of your parents in your 20s. How did that experience shape you?
It completely changed who I am as a person. Losing both your parents is one of those things that you never think is going to happen to you until it does. And it was crazy because it happened so close in time to each other. I lost my dad in 2017. I was only 22 at the time. He was 49. He passed from cancer. And then my mom passed away 4 years later from COVID. And she was only 52 and I was 26 at the time. So it's one of those things that, like, it breaks your world apart. Like, you don't know what to do. Your parents are the most important people in your life, until you have kids, I suppose. And I don't have kids, so yeah, they were my everything, and I had a really great relationship with my parents and my family in general. So obviously devastating, heartbreaking, but I also like to say that although it's the hardest and saddest thing that's happened to me, it's also the thing that's given me the most purpose. It's the most profound thing that's happened to me because it forced me to look within and made me realize how short life is. Because I lost them so young and they were so young, it really made me see that life really is so fragile and so short that we need to do our best to live it fully. Because I don't know how long I'm going to be here. I could also die young like them, or I might live to 100. Who knows? I don't have the say in that. But while I'm here, I want to make that last and make the most of it and live a life that feels authentic to me.
So understanding that life is very short, is this the hardest lesson grief told you?
It is the hardest, but also the most significant that it's taught me, because it puts life into perspective. So, like I said earlier, we live on autopilot most of the time, thinking that we have all the time in the world, and we really don't. We think we do, but we could step outside your house now and anything could happen. And that's not to say that you should live a life in fear, thinking that you will die. Like, no, you should still experience as much as you can, take precautions, but also live life fully. But I guess another lesson that I learned is about acceptance as well. It's learning to accept that our time here is limited. And even though, yes, unfortunately, I had to go through it a lot younger than most people do. And it's sad to think that, for example, if I have kids one day, my kids are never going to meet their grandparents. Like, that obviously hurts if you really think about it. And it does ooh, that's not great. But at the same time, it made me kind of truly realize how fortunate I was to have them to begin with. Because there's people who grow up with no parents, who have parents that abuse them, who mistreat them, who just maybe their parents are alive but don't have good relationships. I was fortunate to have good parents for the short amount of time that I had them. So it's about accepting this is the life that was given to me, and I accept it. It's the life I had to live, and that's the reality of it.
So you're saying being grateful for what you had, because at the same time, glass is always half full, half empty.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's all about how you see
it's
life.
How you see it. Yes, exactly. Perspective. I think that is another big lesson that I've learned from that. Is it's all how you see it. You can choose to look at it as oh yeah, kind of the victim mentality, oh yeah, I've lost them, who, always being sad about it. Yes, and you have definitely every right to be sad about it, but you can also choose to take yourself out of that. Suffering, I do believe sometimes is a choice. You can choose to stay stuck in the sadness or learn from it and realize okay, I can't change this. Yes, they're no longer here, but how can I make my life better? How can I be more present for the people who are here in my life, who are also great? So yeah, being more grateful and looking at life with a glass half full kind of lens.
Yeah. So not defining who you are based on the experiences you had.
Exactly. Not being a victim to your situations. Things happen because they're supposed to happen. It's not because you're a good or a bad person. Horrible things happen all the time. And yeah, it's sad. But if you actually think about it, we're all going to die one day. It's just happened a lot younger for me, which, yes, again, horrible that you have to go through it so young, because you expect that you'll get to see your parents grow old and you'll have your kids will get to meet their grandparents. But that's not the life that was written for me. And yeah, I've accepted that.
And also I feel we've grown up, most of us, unless you've grown up in a very conscious society, we have been constantly being told what's good and what's bad in this life. This is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad. And we've never really been told how to accept things as they are, not as we wish them to be. And if you think about it, it just creates more suffering, because in your mind, you picture things as you want them to be, not the way they are. So if you think about a relationship with someone that you might have, you may be getting angry and say, oh, this person is like this person is like that, but realistically they are who they are.
Yeah.
It's not who you want them to be,
Yeah.
and they're not going to change just because you want them to be.
Yeah.
And the same applies for experiences in our lives, you know. This happens, oh, this is bad, and we start crying. This good thing happened, and then yay, party, we're so happy. And so we create more and more misery because we fail to accept the things as they are.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
we only hold into the good things. So when bad things happen, we go into the misery mode because we are not accepting things as they are.
That's
not
true.
as we want them to be. And honestly, I feel like unless you work on yourself, unless you go and meditate and do a lot of self-work, we live in the society where we're consistently being told what's good and what's bad, what's accepted and what is not. And unless you live by someone else's standards, you're seen as you're a bad person or you're not good enough, etc., etc.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's acceptance and also like letting go of expectations. We think like things need to be this way. Like I said earlier, I thought I was going to live in the US my whole life and blah, blah, blah. That didn't happen that way, and I've had to accept it because sometimes you keep trying and trying and trying. Not to say that you shouldn't try, but maybe if it's not working out, it's for a reason, right? It's because that's not the path that's meant to happen for you. And the same with like loss and grief and like relationships that don't work out. It's having that like realizing like, yeah, acceptance is there's nothing wrong with things not happening the way that you think that they're supposed to happen, right?
Has there ever been a point where your life looked okay from the outside, but didn't feel good on the inside?
Yes, 100%. So, wow, that one hits deep in a good way. When I moved to the UK, so like I said, I used to be married, and I was quite young. So we met when I was 22 and got married pretty quickly, like 7 months into the relationship. It was mainly so that we could live in the same country. Like we didn't like have a wedding or anything like that. And I think it was all of these expectations of like, now I'm married, now I have a husband, now I have a house, now it's all these adult things that I probably kind of forced myself into doing, which was like a great learning lesson now looking back. But at the same time, I don't think mentally I was prepared for it yet. I still had things that I needed to live on my own that I didn't realize at the time. But yeah, I was living in a small town in the UK in Somerset, which definitely was not what I would have wanted for myself. But we lived there because that was where he was from. Like, and I did it for like 5 years. So like I tried to make it work, but it just didn't feel authentic to me. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with where I used to live or with the life that I had. It just didn't feel like my life. I felt like I was kind of living someone else's life. Like felt like I was living someone else's dream, and it didn't feel mine at all. And not to say that it's not that I don't want to be married, that I don't want to have a house. It just, I wasn't in the location that I wanted to be. And I think maybe just the person that I was with just wasn't the person that I could fully envision myself long term. And not because he wasn't a great person, but I think I was so young that I didn't know myself well enough to realize like what I truly wanted. Because again, like sometimes you make these decisions on like, oh, I feel all these things, and I was definitely in love, and it was a beautiful experience, but you don't really think about like long terms, like, do I want kids? Where do I want to live? Like, your partner is probably the most important decision you make in your life. And the person that you marry and that you're with, like, will definitely define like what your life will look like, their habits, like their job, where they live. And on the outside, it looked like I had everything. Like I was married, I had a house, I had a car, I had a job, like everything was stable, but it didn't feel like me. It didn't feel like this is the life I want. So, yeah.
It's a good thing that you realize that sooner rather than later. I mean, it's never late, right? I don't think that term it exists, you know. Even if you've been in a I don't know, relationship or situations or jobs, or, even if you've been there for 20 years, I feel there is always a way for you to really reevaluate, is this the life I want to live for the rest of my life?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether it's been 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, you have the power to make a different choice. And if it doesn't feel good, move on.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's so many people who stay in the same place just out of comfort because they're afraid to make the decision. They're afraid to start over, which of course it is scary. Like starting over is super hard. I had to do it moving to London, and it was hard. But at the same time, it's also liberating because you have like a clean canvas. You can choose the path that you want to take. And yeah, it's better to take the decision sooner rather than later, because if you're just prolonging it, you're going to stay stuck even more. You're going to stay more in your comfort zone, and it'll just be even more difficult to leave. Yeah.
And I feel like people have to believe in themselves a bit more on how much they can actually achieve, because it's scary, to start something again. But, you have to believe, if you want it, you can have it, and you can achieve it. So not to let fear kind of define how you should be living the rest of your life.
Yeah, I think also, because fear is always going to creep in, but don't let the fear be the thing that stops you. Do it with fear, because, and you also have to have a lot of faith in yourself, like you said, because I think I always thought, although the life I had was good, it wasn't bad. Like I said, it's on paper, it was great. And for a lot of people, that would have been their dream life, but I think I had this thing within me telling me no, I can have more and other things that feel more authentic to me. But you do have to truly believe that that's possible for you and go for it.
Yes.
And it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight, but slowly it will happen if you have that faith.
And you can achieve it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what does living an aligned life looks like to you?
Living an aligned life for me looks like doing what feels good, not just what looks good. Whatever brings you joy, whatever lights you up inside, whatever feels authentic to you, no matter if other people don't get it, if other people criticize it or judge it. But if it brings you true happiness, and as long as you're not hurting anyone, do it. Go for it.
And what would be a life that you live for other people looks like as well?
Well, the example I just gave about my past life, a life that on paper looks great. You have the house, you have the car, you have the job, and you have the husband. But if it doesn't feel good in your gut, that is not alignment. That isn't the life for you. It could look great, but does it feel great?
Okay. Talk about wellness from the inside out. What does actually that means to you?
So wellness from the inside out is I think it's my kind of my mantra, because being a holistic health coach, holistic meaning the whole human, it focuses on mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual health. And wellness for me has been, it starts from within, like I said, the inner work, the self-awareness, but it also starts from movement, taking care of your body, taking care of not just your physical appearance, but also the functionality of your body and doing things that feel good. So yeah, movement is a big part of my life, and that's why it does start from within, but it started from starting to exercise made me realize how good it made me feel inside. And then also it has to do with your mindset. It has to do with both internal and external. So I think, just it's holistic. Sorry. Yeah. It's holistic. It's they're all interconnected. One accompanies the other. Mm-hmm. And I don't think you can just focus on one thing without the other. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in terms of the holistic coaching you're doing at the moment, how can someone benefit from holistic coaching?
I think someone can benefit from holistic health coaching because it forces you to look within. We get to the root cause of whatever it is that is stopping you, keeping you stuck. And this is where I feel like I can help people, because I had to do that in order to fully like transform my life. And like I said earlier, it's not that my life is perfect and I'm exactly where I want to be, but as a coach, you're there to guide people and help them look at the things that they're not seeing, helping them truly understand. Like sometimes just seeing something from someone else's perspective or someone voicing it out loud helps you see things like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. Or having just someone there to listen and to support you and kind of guide you. But you have all the answers within you, but someone can, having a coach can help you uncover those questions that maybe you haven't thought of yourself.
Okay. And what is the approach that you taking during your coaching sessions with your clients?
It is, in a lot of ways, kind of like a therapy session, but the difference is that with coaching, you're looking towards the future, not the past. But it is, at least my approach is, I like to ask a lot of questions. Probably why I have a podcast as well. I love asking questions. I love interviewing people, but I think that is the best way to truly get to know yourself. You have to get to know yourself, you have to truly ask yourself those uncomfortable, deep questions. And that is how you get to the root as to why you're stuck. And finding your purpose, finding your why will truly help get to know you better and help you reach wherever it is that you want to get to. Yeah.
And I mean, myself working as a coach as well, I come across a lot of people feeling the use of the word stuck. Why do you feel so many people are feeling stuck now?
Because I think they haven't discovered their values, or they don't know what their values are, and they haven't discovered their purpose. They haven't discovered their why they do the things they do. So I think when you define what your why is, it's a lot easier to take action and to figure it out, figure out what it is that you want.
And it's mainly also part of that, in my opinion, is about finding what's important to you, because you need to understand why you're doing something, like you said. And unless you know why you're doing certain things, if you're just doing the things for the sake of doing them, you will quickly understand that you're not living by your values, which can take you further away from living an authentic life.
Yeah.
How connected do you think the physical and the emotional health really are?
It's impossible for them not to be connected. They go hand in hand. If your mind is not connected with your what was it?
Emotional and physical.
Yeah. If your mind and your emotions are not in a good place, then you're not going to see results physically, or you're not going to feel good in your body. I feel like they definitely go hand in hand. And when you work on the inside, the self, when you do the self work, you have the self-awareness, you will naturally start to see that on the outside. So yeah, they definitely go hand in hand.
So it's almost like, for example, if you're meditating every day, for example, let's say 30 minutes, 1 hour, that will have profound effect on your physical health, because you will feel much better on a physical level in terms of like less aching, less pain in your muscles, etc. And vice versa, if you're exercising every day, you'll feel good mentally. And I feel like that's why I personally, a lot of the time I go and exercise, because that makes me feel good mentally. And for a long time, I did not understand what people meant, and especially in my early 20s, when they tell me like, oh, I'm going to the gym because I want to feel good. And in my mind, I'm like, no, I just go to the gym because I need to look good.
Yeah.
And now, I'm in my 30s now, but at the beginning of my 30s, I've really started to look into myself more in depth in terms of why I'm doing what I'm doing. And so I've started doing a lot more yoga and meditation, and I've realized how everything is connected.
Yeah.
And so one way to look at it is, you know, if you want to feel good, you can't just expect to do one thing that's going to affect everything. So what habits have had the biggest impact on your life?
I think anything to do with self-care, but initially I would say movement, exercise in general. Initially I started to work out because I wanted, like most people, I wanted a bigger bum. I wanted I wanted a better body, right? I actually grew up being quite thin, like very, very thin. And I used to get like made fun of for being so skinny, and I hated it. Which is funny because like I'm Latina, but I don't have the typical Latina body, like the big legs and the big bum. And like, it's funny because like in Europe, like that is like the beauty standard, but I was in a place where that isn't the beauty standard. So you grow up with like these insecurities thinking like, oh, I don't look like that, comparing yourself. So initially, yes, I started to work out because I wanted to look a certain way. But as the years went on and the more I did it, I started to realize like, wow, this actually makes me feel good. And obviously we know all the benefits of, like, if you look at it from a more of a scientific perspective, like the dopamine that you get, like all the endorphins, and it just makes you feel good. It's like medicine for your body, for your soul. And that's how I managed to continue to stay consistent with it, because it just made me feel good. And then the end result is like you look good because of it. It's a byproduct of, if you feel good doing it, you end up looking good as well. So yeah, I think that was the biggest one. And then with time, and then with doing my health coaching certification, I learned a lot about nutrition, so fueling my body, and really noticing like how that impacts me and how I feel, like eating more whole foods, less junk food, drinking lots of water, hydrating yourself, sleeping well. Like all of these little habits do add up over time. And it shows, because people notice it. People tell me like, oh my God, you have great skin. Oh my God, like you're glowing. Like, and it's because I have all these habits that like from within, they make you feel good, but then on the outside, it shows. Yeah.
So what advice would you give to someone who feels disconnected, overwhelmed, or lost in their life right now?
I would say, what is one thing that you can do today to get you toward whatever it is that you're trying to achieve? Taking baby steps, of course, is the best way. Don't look at the whole staircase, just take one step forward, and slowly you will start to see the progress, but not sitting in the overwhelm, because sometimes we stay stuck in the planning phase of whatever it is that we want to achieve. So much planning, but then we freeze and we don't take action because we make it this big thing in our heads, when all you need to do is just start. So feeling stuck is partly because we don't start. We're ruminating on it and just like creating all these scenarios and thinking what could go wrong, what could go right, but you don't know unless you try. So I would say starting small, taking that first step, as small as it is, but just going for it without overthinking it.
Okay, so kind of taking any actions rather than taking no action.
Exactly.
It's
Imperfect
the way forward.
action.
Imperfect action.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, amazing. Thank you so much for being with us today.
It's been amazing. Thank you so much